Namaste and welcome to Pramanik Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani, help you go further faster into Vedic astrological studies. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the 5 elements of creation and the generation cycle and the dissolution cycle. In last video, we discussed about the 5 elements and how the elements are created from the pure consciousness, the sattva, the truth, to the earth element. This is all about how the creation of the elements, right from the sat, the ultimate truth, to the earth, the place we live here. What happens is there is a chitta. Chitta has a manas, and from manas comes the ether, and from ether it gets denser with every element. Every element adds some dense qualities to this element, to the next element. From manas comes the ether element. From ether comes the air element. From air it gets the dense and becomes the fire. And from fire comes the water. And from water element comes the earth element. Ether is the subtle element of all. Ether gives air the movement. Ether gives space to air to be air. In this video, we are going to discuss about the generation cycle of the elements. Ether generates air, air generates fire, fire generates water, water generates earth element. Elements are above the planets in the consciousness. All the material things we see are made up of some of the element, and these elements or these matter are the combination of these 5 elements. And these 5 elements are ruled by 5 starry planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Venus and Mercury. That's why astrology is everywhere. That's why they say it's a sacred science. Planets are below the elements in the hierarchy. So each element has some keywords. If we understand those keywords and if we understand the relationship between these elements, we will have a better understanding of elements. So let's get started with that. Ether element is ruled by Jupiter. Air element is ruled by Saturn. Fire element is ruled by Mars. And water element is ruled by Venus. And Mercury element is ruled by, earth element is ruled by Mercury. And what is the relationship between them? So Jupiter, ether creates air, which is ruled by Saturn. Air creates fire, which is ruled by Mars. Fire creates water, which is ruled by Venus. And water generates earth element. These elements are never in balance in your horoscope. What do I mean by that? There is always imbalance. Before we go into that, we should know the keywords for each of these elements and the rulers. Jupiter or ether element gives the faith, the divine purpose, the higher purpose, the meaning to your life. Air element, Saturn gives the sense of duty, the sense of consciousness, the hard work. Third is Mars, which is all about disciplined activities. Mars is like a soldier. He will get up early, will dress, and will perform its duties. It's Mars. And then there is Venus. Venus likes to get pampered. He loves luxuries. He likes to eat good food. He likes the nourishment. That is Venus for you. And then there is Mercury. Mercury is always calculating. Mercury is all about the calculations. It's always calculating. Mercury is at the base of this pyramid of the elements of creation. That's why it looks for the security, the materialistic things. It always calculates what I'm going to get out of this. What about my security? All these things, Mercury. Now let's get started into the interconnection of all this. What happens if one of the element is weak? Suppose we have a weak Jupiter. If we have a weak Jupiter, our faith, purpose in life, the higher meaning to our life is get shattered, and we are now lose the sense of duty. We don't feel like doing our duty. We lack consciousness. When we have a weak Saturn, what is Saturn? What is air element? It's all about the sense of duty and consciousness. When you don't have the sense of duty and consciousness, you won't be able to do the disciplined activities. So the Mars gets affected if you have a weak Saturn. And likewise, all the elements, the element which is weak will affect the one just after it, the one it generates. In this example, we saw Jupiter is weak, Saturn is impacted. When Saturn is weak, Mars gets impacted. When Mars is weak, what happens when Mars is weak? If you are not doing your disciplined activities to achieve your goals, if you are not doing any disciplined and meaningful activities, you feel scattered and your Venus gets impacted and you get to the lustful and addictions. You pamper yourself too much because you lack that discipline, because the Mars is weak, the element of fire is weak in you. What next? If you have the weak Venus or the water element is weak in your horoscope, your desires are not fulfilled, so you feel more insecure and you try to analyze your security even more. You want the security first because your desires are not fulfilled. As your desires are not fulfilled, you feel insecure and you start calculating the securities. Will I get this? Will I get that? All these insecurities come out of the Mercury. This is about the weakness. But what happens if you have a very great Jupiter? When you have a great Jupiter, it enhances your sense of duty. It gives you that conviction to do the meaningless activity. Even if it feels meaningless, you are going to do it no matter what, each and every day. Because you know the bigger picture. You have that sense of meaning. You have that sense of purpose in you. Now you don't feel it as a burden. You do it from within because you have the consciousness. Because you have the Jupiter, the positivity. Once you have the strong Jupiter, your Saturn enhances. When you have the positive Saturn, now you have the sense of duty, the consciousness. Now you can do the disciplined activities. Now you can get up early, you can work hard. Now you have the sense of purpose, the duty, the consciousness, and now you are acting on it. What will happen? Your desires will get fulfilled. Your Venus is getting positive. If you have the strong Mars or the fire element is enhanced in your horoscope, the Venus or the water element gets a boost, because once you're working hard on your character, the disciplined activities, the activities or the things determined by the Mars, you're working like a soldier towards your goal, your duty, then you achieve the success. Now you have all the luxuries because your goals are fulfilled. That's what the water element Venus is all about. Fulfilling your goals, desires and nourishment. And when you have your desires nourished, goals fulfilled, you feel secure. That's what Mercury is all about. This is the generation cycle of the 5 elements of creation. Generation cycle is from either air, fire, water, earth. But what happens in the dissolution? Dissolution is also required for the control, because too much of either won't give any space for air element. If there is too much of air, fire will be impacted and there will be no life. There is always an imbalance, but at the end, it always gets balances functionally. How the dissolution process goes? Dissolution process goes in reverse. We saw the generation right from either air, fire, water and earth. Dissolution goes from earth, water, fire, air, ether, and boom goes to Manas and Chitta, Sattva, and to the ultimate consciousness, the higher consciousness, the truth. So dissolution of these elements is what yogis do. They are in this material world, they try to dissolve these elements, the threads of these elements into the higher purpose, into the higher qualities. They are raising their vibrations to dissolve themselves into the ether, into the manas. From earth, they are removing those dense qualities of earth. They are not insecure about it. They are not insecure about the material achievements. They are not concerned about their nourishments and the luxuries. They are not so keen about achieving something. Now they don't have any kind of duty, or they don't get overwhelmed by the duty. Okay, and at the end they are into that higher purpose, the Jupiter thing, the ether, and then they jump into the truth, to the manas, wherein they become the truth, where yogis became eternal. They get enlightened. They start from the earth. The yogis or the saints or those who are enlightened are just are the people like you and me, born on earth, but they remove one by one all the dense qualities and reach to that real truth. This was part 2 for the elements of creation. We might have to create one more part, or maybe 2, in which we will discuss about the interactions of it, and we'll go even deeper. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video with interesting Vedic astrological insights to decode its secrets. Till then, love and peace.